Dementia does not begin with you forgetting a name. It begins when you stop bothering to get changed, feel no need to call anyone, cannot remember if you ate, no one sees, no one says, but you are withdrawing from life little by little. There are things that used to be so normal, getting dressed, eating breakfast, stepping outside, calling someone, even just remembering what day of the week it is. But then one day you realize you are not doing those things anymore. Not because you are lazy, not exactly because you forgot, but rather they no longer make sense to you like before. If I am not hungry, I will not eat. Staying home is fine, there is no need to go out. It is okay, I will call tomorrow if I remember. Those phrases you once thought were just choices, but in reality they might be the silent signs of a fading memory. No one tells you that. Dementia does not always begin with forgetting a name. It begins with very small, very illogical things that you find very normal. In this video, I will share 9 such signs. 9 things that, when you start to see them as unnecessary, could very well be the moment you should check in on your memory's health. And if you are watching this video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe for more conversations that get to the heart of aging. Because perhaps one of those 9 things you are silently experiencing every day. Let us begin. The first sign, wearing the same outfit for many days. Have you ever worn the exact same outfit from morning to night and then the next day? Still that outfit, still the old pajama pants, still not feeling the need to change. At first, it is just convenient, then a habit, then you no longer see any reason to change. Older adults often say, I am home all day, why change clothes? But really wearing the same outfit over and over is not just a habit, but sometimes a silent alarm bell. Many psychologists at the Mayo Clinic warn, when older adults begin to ignore small changes in their daily routines, it can be an initial sign of mild depression or early memory decline, not because of laziness, but because the brain is gradually losing its time orientation, unable to distinguish what day it is, whether you have changed clothes, or if you will even see anyone else to need to dress differently. Margaret, 73, living alone in Ohio, once shared, I wore a sweater for an entire week. At first I thought, I am at home anyway. But then one day my daughter visited, touched my shoulder and said, Mom, are you okay? Only then did I realize, perhaps, I was letting myself go without knowing. The clothes are not the problem. How we see ourselves is the real worry. Because when you no longer want to change your shirt, it could also be when you no longer want to show up for yourself. But things do not need a big change. Just a small gesture. A clean shirt each morning. One time combing your hair. A small mirror to see yourself. Not to look beautiful, but to remind you, I am still here. I am still me. And sometimes, just by changing an outfit, you have chosen to feel present again. To live with awareness in a world that so easily forgets. The second sign, skipping breakfast because you do not feel hungry. Have you ever sat at the breakfast table, looked at a plate of toast or a bowl of oatmeal, then quietly said a familiar phrase, I just do not feel hungry? Many older adults think this is normal. At this age, eating less is fine. But in reality, not feeling hungry is not a sign of health. It is often a quiet message from your body. Something is slowing down. After age 70, the digestive system begins to slow. But not only that, the brain, especially the region that controls the feeling of hunger, also begins to fall asleep. The signals that once made your stomach rumble in the morning may no longer be as clear. This is especially dangerous for someone with memory decline. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that losing your appetite in the morning is one of the early signs of cognitive trouble, linked to the hippocampus, the area that controls memory and orientation. When you skip breakfast, blood sugar drops, energy falls, and the brain becomes even foggier. A cycle begins. No hunger, no eating, not enough energy for clear thinking, more prone to confusion and forgetting. Frank, 78, in Minnesota, used to be an early riser, making coffee and eggs every morning. But after a few months of not feeling hungry, he skipped breakfast, drinking only plain water. His daughter noticed the change not in his stomach, but in his eyes. which were gradually growing distant. After an exam, his doctor diagnosed him with the early stage of mild memory decline. Breakfast does not need to be elaborate, just one slice of toast, a spoonful of peanut butter, or a small bowl of oatmeal. What is important is not how much you eat, but that your biological rhythm is awakened, a gentle reminder to your body, a new day has begun. You are still here. And sometimes, just by chewing one small bite, you are helping your brain flip a switch that it is forgetting to flip on its own. Next is the third sign, not going outside every day. How many days has it been since you stepped outside? Not because you are lazy, but because you see no reason to go. The weather is cold, your legs are weak, and the yard outside the window has nothing new to see. And so, gradually, you start to see day and night blending together. Waking up in the morning but not knowing if it is morning yet. Night comes and your eyes are still open, but your body is tired and you cannot sleep. That is not just old age. That is a sign your body's internal clock is out of sync. After age 70, our bodies need natural light more than ever, because only natural light is strong enough to wake the brain region responsible for telling day from night, promoting melatonin production in the evening, the hormone for deep sleep, and keeping emotions stable. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, older adults with little exposure to daylight, less than 30 minutes a day, have a risk up to 80% higher of developing symptoms of mild cognitive impairment or dementia. Joan, 74, in Seattle, used to stay indoors all winter. After a while, she said her sleep was erratic, she was forgetful, and her mood was easily irritated. The doctor did not prescribe more medicine, but prescribed her 15 minutes of sunshine each morning. No need to go to the park, just sit on a chair on the porch, a cup of tea in hand, facing the light. After a few weeks, her sleep improved. She remembered her grandchild's name and even called a close friend for a walk. You do not need to go far. Just let your eyes see the blue sky. Let your skin feel the sun. Let the morning chill brush past your sleeves. Your body will remember where it is and what time of day it is. Because when you do not go out, your body is not just lacking vitamin D. It is lacking the signal that says, this is a new day. You are still here. The world is still waiting. The fourth sign, not talking to anyone all day long. Have you ever gone a whole day without saying a single word to anyone? No phone calls, no visitors, only the sound of the TV, the microwave, and your own voice repeating familiar thoughts. At first, you might think, I am used to it. Being alone can be peaceful. But in reality, prolonged silence does not just make the house feel empty, it also causes the brain to gradually dim. Because our brains, at any age, need other people to keep them sharp. When you talk even just a few simple sentences, your brain must listen, understand, react, choose words, read a tone of voice, recall information, and all are subtle workouts for your memory. According to research from the University of Michigan, people over 70 who have less than 10 minutes of meaningful conversation each day have a memory decline rate, 5 times faster than those who maintain regular social interaction. Thomas, 81, lived alone after his wife passed away. At first, he just felt shy about talking. After a few months, his daughter noticed he could not remember the neighbors' names or mixed up the days of the week. His doctor advised him, every day, just call one person. Not to say anything important, but so your brain knows that it is still being used. Just like muscles need exercise, memory also needs communication. You do not need to talk to many people, just a 5-minute call, a hello to a neighbor, a small question at the store. How are you today? Because sometimes the difference between a bright mind and a mind that is fading lies in just one conversation a day. Let us move on to the fifth sign, not knowing what day it is. Have you ever sat looking out the window and suddenly asked yourself, what day of the week is it? And then quietly let it go as if it did not matter. However, not remembering what day it is not harmless at all. It is not just about forgetting the date, but a subtle sign that your brain is losing its ability to anchor to reality. Neuroscientists call it a loss of time orientation, one of the earliest and most notable signs of the cognitive decline process. Because to know what day it is, your brain has to do more than you think. Remember the calendar. sense the day-night cycle, link to daily activities, and compare with recent memory. If just one link weakens, the entire system starts to come loose. Research from the Alzheimer's Association shows older adults who are frequently confused about the day of the week are 4 times more likely to progress from mild decline to dementia than those who still maintain basic calendar orientation. Darlene, 75, in Arizona, used to think remembering the day was not important. I am retired. Every day is the same. But after she confused Tuesday with Friday, missed an important medical appointment, and then could not remember why, her doctor warned, "This is not just forgetfulness. This is your brain's reminder, I need help." You do not need an electronic calendar. You do not need a fancy app. Just every morning, write down today's date on a sticky note and put it on the bathroom mirror. Seeing it, reading it aloud once, that is a small action, but it can keep your brain anchored to the present. Because when you do not know what day it is, you are gradually losing a part of yourself, the part that knows where you are in the flow of time. And sometimes holding on to the day of the week is holding on to the lifeline that connects you to this world. The sixth sign, always having the TV on, but not remembering the content. Have you ever watched TV for a whole evening? Then when you turn it off, suddenly realize you cannot remember a thing you watched. Not because the show was bad, but because your mind seemed to be somewhere else. That feeling, vague, empty, leaving no trace, is not just a simple senior moment. It could be a sign that your brain is gradually losing its ability to process and store new information. Because watching TV, seemingly a passive activity, actually requires the brain to listen, understand, connect images, and store them in short-term memory. If you are still looking at the screen but not registering anything, it means your brain has started to tune out. According to research from the University of California, San Francisco, the state of watching without remembering is one of the earliest symptoms of early-stage cognitive decline, especially if it happens frequently and is not limited to TV content. Raymond, 80, in Illinois, used to sit for hours watching the news every evening. But when his son asked, "What was on the news tonight, Dad?" he looked blank, then changed the subject. The doctor explained, it is not because he did not hear, it is because his brain could no longer hold on to it. But the good news is the brain can still be retrained. Instead of letting the TV run constantly, you can limit each viewing to 30 minutes, and then tell one small detail to someone, or write a few lines in a notebook. It does not need to be perfect. Just one sentence. Tonight they talked about a storm in Texas. You can also choose programs with a slow pace with many familiar images, like nature documentaries, cooking shows, or old musical programs. An older person's brain often remembers things linked to emotions and personal memories longer. Because sometimes it is not that you are not interested, but that your brain needs a little help to record what just passed by. And if every day you can hold on to one small piece, then memory is still staying little by little with you. The seventh sign, not drinking enough water, but not feeling thirsty. Have you ever seen a glass of water on the table and thought, "Oh, I will drink it later." And then later, you forget again. Not because you are intentionally ignoring it, but because really, you do not feel thirsty. Many older adults think it is a small thing. I do not feel anything. The weather is cool, why drink so much? But in truth, losing the sensation of thirst is not simply about weather or habit. It's a sign that your body's most basic survival signals are starting to fade. According to the National Institutes of Health, after age 70, the hypothalamus, which controls thirst, becomes less sensitive, causing older adults not to realize they are dehydrated until their body is tired, dizzy, or even confused. And what is more telling, when the brain is dehydrated, the short-term memory area is the first place to dry out. Evelyn, 77, in Oregon, began showing signs of forgetfulness and unusual fatigue. After an examination, the doctor found no serious problems, just chronic dehydration. After a few weeks of being reminded to drink water regularly, even when not thirsty, her confusion improved markedly. You do not need to drink too much. Just about one small glass of water every few hours. Place the glass where it is easily seen, next to the sofa, near the bed, on the dining table. Or use a bottle with time markers to give a gentle reminder every time you look down. Light tea, warm water, clear soup are all water, as long as you do not wait until you feel thirsty, because by the time you feel thirsty, your brain may be more dehydrated than you think. And sometimes each small sip of water does not just soothe your throat, but also helps retain the fading pieces of memory. The next sign is not changing a habit even when it is inconvenient. Have you ever used something that is old, a wobbly chair, worn out slippers, or a flickering desk lamp, and thought, oh, well, I am used to it. It is fine to use. Using it for a long time becomes a habit, and once you are used to it, changing feels like a bother. This is very common in later years. But if you pay close attention, behind these seemingly normal things lies an important clue. Your brain is gradually losing its ability to adapt. And adapting is not a big deal. It is the small things, switching the hand, holding the knife because the other one shakes, turning the lamp because your eyes are tired, moving a chair to avoid tripping. According to research from the University of Toronto, older adults who have difficulty changing inconvenient habits often show a significant decline in the prefrontal cortex, the area related to flexible thinking and behavioral adjustment. This doubles the risk of falls, social isolation, and memory decline. Walter, 79, living in Boston, once fell in the kitchen because he always stepped over the same spot where the rug was folded. When his son suggested moving the rug, he said, I am used to that spot. But after a fall that broke his wrist, he realized an old habit, if no longer safe, is no longer just a habit. Changing is not about breaking things. It is how you allow yourself to live more comfortably, more safely, more independently. You can start with just one small change. Place your slippers against the wall instead of in the middle of the room. Move the chair you might trip over. Change to a brighter light bulb. Because sometimes accepting change does not make you weaker. It is how you tell your brain, I am still in control, I still have a choice. And in the years when memory may fade, the ability to adapt is precisely what helps you preserve your dignity and freedom. And the final sign, always thinking it is nothing, despite strange symptoms. Have you ever felt something was not normal? One time you stood up and felt dizzy. One day you forgot your granddaughter's name. One afternoon you suddenly could not remember what dish you were planning to cook. Then you muttered to yourself, it is nothing, probably just old age. It sounds reasonable, but that very sentence, it is nothing, is the reason so many illnesses worsen, so many opportunities for help pass by in silence. Older adults tend to endure, to hide things, to try to adjust on their own. But that is not always brave. Sometimes it is how we deceive ourselves from a truth that needs to be faced. With memory decline, that is even more dangerous, because the initial symptoms are often very vague. Forgetting small things, disorientation, mild emotional disturbances, changes in appetite. No one thinks it is a disease. And so, you do not tell anyone. According to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, over 40% of people diagnosed with mid-stage dementia reported they had signs 1 to 2 years prior, but had reassured themselves that it was probably nothing. Henry, 82, in Colorado shared, I just thought my mind was slowing down. When my wife asked, I always brushed it off. By the time I went for a walk and could not remember the way home, it was too late for early support. Early detection does not reverse things completely, but it opens up time to prepare, to practice, to keep yourself independent longer. Next time you notice something strange, no matter how small, please do not tell yourself it is nothing anymore. Tell a loved one, ask your doctor. Write it down, because sometimes a small sentence, I feel a little different today, could save a whole long stretch of memory. How many of those things sound familiar to you? Maybe it is just that you did not leave the house today, or forgot what day of the week it is, or simply what you had for lunch today that you cannot remember now. Do not panic just yet, but also do not ignore it, because sometimes memory decline does not come like a storm. It trickles away little by little through the smallest things you no longer pay attention to. You do not need to do anything drastic right away. Just Pay a little more attention to yourself each day. Proactively step outside, make a phone call, drink another glass of water, or simply look at this morning's calendar and whisper, "It is Friday already." Those seemingly small things are the protective fence for your memory. If this video helped you realize something, please share it with your spouse, a relative, or someone who is quietly aging just like you. And if you feel less alone after hearing these words, please leave a comment, because perhaps a line from you today will ease the worries of someone else tomorrow. We still have many things to remember, to live for, to tell, and I hope you will not forget that. I will see you in the next video where we can keep talking, gently, like old friends.